Hey, Will.
Good afternoon, Jordan.
Good morning. How are you
Good
feeling?
morning. Pretty good, pretty good. Excited to chat. We had a good discussion at a dinner last night with some investors, and so excited with that Friday flow energy.
Love it. Yeah, so much energy. I had one too many martinis. Small headache, but I'm here for it. So let's jump in.
Some call
Well,
it energy, some call it headaches. Let's go.
and we're live, baby. Here we are. Today we will
Welcome
be
to the Friday
discussing
flow.
we will be discussing AI, obviously, with coding. How are developers how have developers' lives changed since coding? What are the products out there? We're gonna really hone in on two specific ones, and then just what do we think about where it's headed? This was Will and I had a nice conversation about this last night. Replit is a company that is doing some crazy AI agent coding bots, and I know Will is like super into it. I have my own thoughts on exactly where it is in the space so far. But Will, why don't you kick it off with a little bit of just explain what Replit is and why you think it's so awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Really excited with this conversation. I think over the last couple of years now, we've seen an evolution of our tech team using AI to help improve coding. I think Copilot was one of the very early versions of this, right? And it seems like every day, every week, a new company is forming and launching a new IDE with AI capabilities or a new agent that can help with development. So I think it's super awesome. With Replit specifically, they are building a software development stack. It's in browser. It allows you to easily write software in any language, but also deploy it pretty easily as well. And they figure out the databases that you need it behind your apps and things like that. So it makes it super easy. And really, I think it's probably if it's a spectrum of tools for professional coders and then tools for people that don't know anything, that are amateurs. Replit's always kind of been slightly to that right of that spectrum, and so I think of it as really democratizing access to building things and building cool shit, which I think has been awesome. The founder Amjad Masad has I've listened to him on a few podcasts, and he actively does talk about, yes, this is a super powerful product that they've built, but also a huge part of it is like how to get people to learn to code. And they've had like 100-day of coding type school for a while. But what was super cool and interesting that they launched just yesterday is a new agent which promises to help you even go beyond learning to code to actually just code. So use a prompt, spit out some code, and you almost like don't need to understand it. And so that probably has its own implications. Like, do you trust what's been written? Are there weird backdoors and all that kind of stuff? But it's truly fascinating to see how you can launch something with like natural language with like no prior knowledge of coding. So let me share my screen. I want to show something that's how it looks and how it operates today, because I think it's just super interesting. So okay, let me go with this. So this is Replit, and now within Replit they have this agent here. And so I thought, let's just live code something right now. It should take a couple minutes and we can see how it is. So I want to build a Flappy Bird clone using sloths. Maybe we call it a game using sloths. Cool. And you hit start building. So what this is doing, it's taking the natural language prompt, is then deciphering what it is exactly that I'm asking. It's thinking about it, but then it's also thinking about how would it go about building this as a game or an application that I'm asking for. So it's doing a bunch of different things. It's figured it out. It's going to give me a proposal. It's going to have me sign off on it, and then it's going to go ahead and start building it. So it's created a plan for a Flappy Bird style game featuring sloths. So it understands I want sloths. It's going to propose using Flask and vanilla JavaScript. Okay, cool. It's going to just use vanilla. I could probably tell it I want to use something else, but it's telling me some of these things. Would you like to add any of these additional features? We can also make these later. Add different sloth characters, unique abilities, create a high school leaderboard. A bunch of cool things. All right, let's build a leaderboard in there as well. Great. So I hit approve, and this side is the Replit screen, which you have all the files on the left there, and then you can have various tabs running as well. But actually, what it's doing right now is like coding all the files. Like this is the JavaScript file. It looks like it just did something in CSS before that. I guess it's going to have like a Python place. It's got this HTML page. Yeah, this SVGs it's making. It's installing Flask. So like before, and I built I redid my personal homepage like 2 years ago at Christmas time when I had some time, and I was really interested to play around with the powers of ChatGPT at the time, and I think it was like ChatGPT 3 or something like that. And so I had it spit out HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript for a website, and I just used natural language. It took me probably like 30 minutes to actually build the website, and it was you needed to prompt it a few times. It wasn't quite accurate in certain instances, and you kept like moving ahead with it. But I was using it and I was asking it, and so I was telling it I want to use, say in this instance, Flask, or I want to use some sort of package on JavaScript, and you would debug it and debug it and debug it. I think what this is trying to do here is trying to skip a lot of those steps and try and really be that true agent that can help you with what you're trying to do. So let's see, I think it's nearly ready. It's starting the Flask app. Let's see what it's come up with. Oh, okay.
Slothy bird. Okay.
Oh, can you see the Slothy Bird interface? Is there a start game button visible? Yes. But it doesn't seem to do anything when I press the button. Okay, cool. It might not have worked, and that's the fun side of yeah. So it's asking me to test the game, but actually it doesn't seem to work. So that's it. So it's still in progress. I was
Yeah.
hoping that we might actually get a game out here, but I mean, what we did get though, we've got HTML pages, we've got some Python, we've got the CSS here. It's built all this stuff. It's got the images. Oh, I guess it's built me a sloth SVG and some pipes. It's built me the JavaScript for the game
Wait, can you go
mechanics, I
back to the
guess.
sloth SVG?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty nice.
Is that a sloth?
That's a sloth, I
Here's
think, for a
here's
very
the
quick
speed.
V1. But it's a shame. It's a shame that it's actually not working. Maybe we can come back to it later in the
Okay,
show if
yeah,
it's
I like
actually
that.
working.
Okay. So as you can
But the
see, this is
democratizing, you
a
can.
yeah. As you can see, this is a great demoable use case. Great demoable product, Replit. I mean, I think it looks incredible. Like it looks like it's done a really fantastic job. The one thing that you did mention before is does this skew more towards like coders, advanced coders, amateur? And you said it skews more towards amateur. And that's kind of where I want to take the conversation is I think there's two types of like AI use cases that two different groups are tackling. There's like the 0 to, I would even call it one, but we'll say 0 to 1 approach, which is what Will just showed you, which is like type in a prompt and like what is the application that you want, and it'll just build you this application. When in reality, if you wanted to build a Flappy Sloths application, you're looking at a whole weekend of hacking if you're advanced, right? Like that's a good project to work on. It'd probably be very fun, but it would take you literally a whole weekend. I'm talking a good 20, 30 hours. He just did it in 5 minutes, right? So that is wildly impressive. In the real world, in terms of actually developing real products and companies, you have to be able to, you're not going from 0 to 1, so you're not taking it from absolute scratch and just make whatever you want. You're adding features and you're adding things to an existing project. So having context into that existing project and being able to, like, if you just, so in Woflow, for example, let's just use the catalog editor as an example. What if we said, please for every item be able to add tags, dietary tags, just as an example. It would have to have so much context in so many angles of our business to be able to properly do that. It's not possible yet. So in the real world, like using this technology to straight up say, do this for me, isn't quite there. I'm not saying that it won't be there. I know it will be there. It's just not there yet. So what's bridging the gap is being able to use these LLMs and the AI to help you make that feature. So do you want to add tags to every item? Great, I can type it in. It's not really going to know where to start. But if I'm coding and I'm actually the one doing that work, I can use the technology to help me with it. And so one incredible product that quite a few of us use at Woflow is Cursor, which is an IDE. And by the way, IDE is essentially just a application for people to code in. It's kind of like a text editor. So Cursor has created their own IDE that is built from the ground up, thinking about AI and thinking about how can this technology actually be used to help you. So I'm going to give you a super quick demo as well. Okay, can you see this?
Wonderful.
Lovely. So this is a existing project. This is actually an open source project that is written by Woflow for true casing. This is like sentence converting things to sentence case, base case, uppercase, etc. So here we have a bunch of test cases that we've created manually. So this is like very, very manual work to be able to like really figure out what are the test cases that we want. I'm going to basically just ask this, I'm going to ask Cursor, can you add test cases where you think we might have missed something? I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense. Supposed to see what happens. Certainly. So it's going to go through and actually like look at what we've already tested. And it's going to add some new stuff. Notice how, and then it'll also give me like an example. Yes, great contractions and title case. Like it's literally going through it. This is a great example. And notice how this is like some code on the right, obviously, but it says existing cases here. This is important to know. If you were just to like copy and paste this into ChatGPT, it would probably give you some similar examples, but the flow of how you actually interact with it is a lot different. So here, I'm literally going to say apply. And notice how it's going to go through and apply it where it thinks it should be applied. So you can tell on each of these types of cases, it's actually just applying it within the current test cases. So it's appending, it's inserting, it's doing what it wants to do to be able to add these test cases. This is like a super basic example, but what I wanted to really showcase was the interactivity between the results that it's giving and actually inserting it into current code. So it's really, really, really good at doing this on a per file basis. What it is not good at yet is full code base context, meaning it doesn't actually know everything about the code base. So you can only really talk to it about the current file. It might have some context on a few other files that you've previously looked at, but it's not able to really understand the whole code base. And so that is what we're missing today. But this is a great example of how it is being used currently.
Yeah,
What do
that's
you
so
think, Will?
awesome. How far off do you think we are to get? Do we just need to simply wait for a model that has a larger context window, and then someone like Cursor will better come along and say, ingest your entire company's code base, and then I know the whole thing of how it works?
So I don't think we're too far off, to be really honest. There's another company called Augment. They've raised a shitload of money, like 250 million. We're beta testing their product. It is it is exactly that. It understands the full context of your entire repository, of all of your files, and it tries to not only understand what's going on, but understand your team's style. So um, code isn't just code. We could have, if 10 different people were to have written Woflow, maybe it would look exactly the same on as you're using it, but the code might be completely different. So every team has a different style. So it wants to try to morph into your own style. It's very cool. So they actually have claimed that they have sort of done it. They have 30 insane PhD AI researchers on that team. They've made all of their own models. They haven't made their own IDE, and I don't think they're going. That's not really what they want to do. They're just working on the model to be able to build the code for you. So I think it's there. Well, I suppose it's there. Maybe it's not great, but because it's already a company has already claimed that it's happening, I can't imagine this is going to be more than like a year before it really actually is be able to be used, maybe by Cursor or maybe they'll license their LLMs to other types
Yeah,
of
I think
companies.
that's super cool as well because what you get is an iterative design process with companies moving the post a bit further down the field, and then someone else is going to have another great idea, and they're going to build off that and move it further as well. So we don't know which company is going to succeed, but back to the point of earlier of democratizing coding. To give you a great example, the Cursor company is a team of 10-ish. They're fresh graduate college degrees. The CEO is a guy out of MIT, obviously very, very intelligent. This is his first company. This is his first job out of college. And they've been able to build something that, a few years ago would have been impossible to build this, right? And so they've already started to build a wildly successful product that's doing so much. The first version of that was GitHub building Copilot, which would have taken so much time and energy and resource to actually design that first version. And now you've got 10 people spending 2 years on a product, and they've built something that's wildly better than the first version. So it doesn't take much imagination to know that in a few years down the line, you truly do get to a place where you have very, very powerful companies and products being built with very small teams because they're all able to hyper leverage these environments and keep building on what the past has already done. And so I'm really excited what that means. We're going not just as a company, but as a world. You have a lot more access to this, so you should have a lot more entrepreneurs creating a lot more jobs, a lot more interesting things that people can work on. And so it's really exciting for where it's headed.
Couldn't agree more. I know people on our team have said that they have 2-3x'd their output, and I know that's true because I see it. I know myself, I work on a lot of like proof of concepts and research, and being able to use these tools, I'd say, has 2-3x'd myself, especially because I'm working on a lot of more 0 to 1 type circumstances. I'm really able to leverage something like Replit, which I will now do. Actually, I have not officially made a full app on Replit yet, but I'm excited to. Um, has it worked?
I think I'm a
Did you
10x. I think I'm a
did you
10x
just
coder now.
well, did you just fix it during this interview? Have you been listening to anything I was saying?
Sure. I can't get through the first hurdle, but it does work. I can confirm it.
That's
I can confirm
amazing.
it works.
Oh my
And
god, that
yes,
is
my
just
sloth
so
looks
cool.
great. I thought I was going to get it then. But yeah, this is a point of,
Oh wow.
it's built my whole thing. And yes, it had a bug, but it also figured out what the bug was. So I noticed there was a DevTool console error. I just set it to the chat. It identified the issue with it not working, a duplication in its initial code. It edited the JavaScript file, it restarted the app, and then as we see, it now works. So I think it's super cool how this iterative work, to your point, and I think what they've said about launching this Replit agent, today it only works with new Replit projects. So you have to start from the agent. It can't go back into a prior project and understand the context and work from it yet. But this is the first version they launched of this today or yesterday. So I imagine they'll be adding that shortly. To your point, Cursor does a really great job of understanding the context of a full file. There's other companies working on context of your entire code base. I think this is all just the beginning of what we might see in the near future, which is all super exciting.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on starting your new slothy, or what is it, Flappy Sloths? New company, side biz?
They instantly called it Slothfly for me, so it's called Slothfly.
I like Flappy Sloths.
I prefer that. I'll give it some feedback, but yeah, I'll launch it on the App Store soon, so you will compare.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, great conversation. Really glad we got to chat more AI. Look out for our next episode. AI something. It won't be next Friday. You want to know why?
Tell him, Jordan.
Getting married. It's our courthouse wedding. Not the big one, but we're going to be getting married next Friday. So we'll be off, even though we're not religious about doing these Friday flows every Friday, but we try. But next week we'll be off. But thanks everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and best of luck getting married, Jordan.
Woo! I'm going to leave us with some Friday Flow hardcore outro. Let's go. Wait.
It's funny on the road, Jordan will in control. What flows, get the mic, TikTok.